Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's scripture reading. And today we're going to be reading out of Leviticus chapter 1, verses 1 through chapter 6, verse 7, Isaiah 43, 21 through 44, 23, 1 Samuel 15, 2 through 34, Hebrews 10, 1 through 18, and Hebrews 13, 10 through 15. And Yahuwah called unto Moshe, and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharel, and say unto them, If any man of you bring an offering unto Yahuwah, you shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd and of the flock. It is his offering to be a burnt sacrifice of the herd. Let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before Yahuwah. And he shall put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. And he shall kill the bullock before Yahuwah, and the priests, Aaron's sons, shall bring the blood, and sprinkle the blood round about upon the altar that is by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall flay the burnt offering, and cut it into his pieces. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall put fire upon the altar, and lay the wood in order upon the fire. And the priests Aaron's sons shall lay the parts, the head and the fat, in order upon the wood that is on the fire which is upon the altar. But his inwards and his legs shall he wash in water, and the priest shall burn all on the altar to be a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. And of his offerings be of the flocks, namely of the sheep or of the goats, for a burnt sacrifice, he shall bring it, a male without blemish. And he shall kill it on the side of the altar northward before Yahuwah. And the priests, Aaron's son, shall sprinkle his blood round about upon the altar. And he shall cut it into his pieces, with his head and his fat. And the priest shall lay them in order on the wood that is on the fire which is upon the altar. But he shall wash the inwards and the legs with water, and the priest shall bring it and burn it upon the altar. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. And if the burnt sacrifice for his offering of Yahuwah be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or of young pigeons, and the priest shall bring it unto the altar, and wring off his head, and burn it on the altar, and the blood thereof shall be wrung out at the side of the altar. And he shall pluck away his crop of his feathers, and cast it beside the altar on the east part, by the place of the ashes. And he shall cleave it with the wings thereof, but shall not divide it asunder. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar, upon the wood that is upon the fire. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. And when any will offer a meat offering unto Yahuwah, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil upon it, and put frankincense thereon. And he shall bring it to Aaron's sons the priests, and he shall take thereout his handful of the flour thereof, and of the oil thereof, and with all the frankincense thereof, and the priest shall burn the memorial of it upon the altar, to be an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. And the remnant of the meat offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is a thing most holy of the offerings of Yahuwah made by fire. And if thou bring an oblation of meat offering baken in the oven, it shall be unleavened cakes of fine flour mingled with oil, or unleavened wafers anointed with oil. And if thy oblation be a meat offering baked in a pan, it shall be of fine flour unleavened mingled with oil. Thou shalt part it in pieces, and pour oil thereon. It is a meat offering. And if thy oblation be a meat offering baken in the frying pan, it shall be made of fine flour with oil. And thou shalt bring the meat offering that is made of these things unto Yahuwah. And when it is presented unto the priest, he shall bring it unto the altar. And the priest shall take from the meat offering a memorial thereof, and shall burn it upon the altar. It is an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. And that which is left of the meat offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is a thing most holy of the offerings of Yahuwah made by fire. No meat offering, which ye shall bring unto Yahuwah, shall be made with leaven. For ye shall burn no leaven, nor any honey, in any offering unto Yahuwah made by fire. As for the oblation of the firstfruits, ye shall offer them unto Yahuwah, but they shall not be burnt on the altar for a sweet savor. And every oblation of thy meat offering shalt thou season with salt. Neither shalt thou suffer the salt of the covenant of thy Elohim to be lacking from thy meat offering. With all thine offerings thou shalt offer salt. And if thou offer a meat offering of the firstfruits unto Yahuwah, thou shalt offer for the meat offering of thy firstfruits green ears of corn dried by the fire, even corn beaten out of full ears. And thou shalt put oil upon it, and lay frankincense thereon. It is a meat offering. And the priest shall burn the memorial of it, part of the beaten corn thereof, and part of the oil thereof, with all the frankincense thereof. It is an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. And if his oblation be a sacrifice of peace offering, and if he offered it of the herd, whether it be a male or female, he shall offer it without blemish before Yahuwah. He shall lay his head upon the head of his offering, and kill it at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron's sons, the priests, shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar round about. And he shall offer the sacrifice of the peace offering, an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with kidneys, it shall he take away. And Aaron's son shall burn it on the altar, upon the burnt sacrifice, which is upon the wood that is on the fire. It is an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. And if his offering for a sacrifice of peace offering unto Yahuwah be of the flock, male or female, he shall offer it without blemish. If he offer a lamb for his offering, then shall he offer it before Yahuwah. And he shall lay his hands upon the head of his offering, and kill it before the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron's son shall sprinkle the blood thereof round about upon the altar. And he shall offer the sacrifice of the peace offering, an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah, the fat thereof, and the whole rump. It shall he take off hard by the backbone, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and all that fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar. It is the food of the offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. And if his offering be a goat, then he shall offer it before Yahuwah. He shall lay his hand upon it and kill it, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of it, and kill it before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the sons of Aaron shall sprinkle the blood thereof upon the altar round about. And he shall offer thereof his offering, even an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar. It is the food of the offering made by fire for a sweet savor. All the fat is Yahuwah's. It shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings, that you eat neither fat nor blood. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharal, saying, If a soul shall sin against shall sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of Yahuwah concerning things which ought not to be done, and shall do against any of them, if the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring for his sin which he hath sinned a young bullock without blemish unto Yahuwah for a sin offering. And he shall bring the bullock unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before Yahuwah, and shall lay his hand upon the bullock's head, and kill the bullock before Yahuwah. And the priest that is anointed shall take of the bullock's blood, and bring it to the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall dip his finger in the blood, and sprinkle of the blood 7 times before Yahuwah, before the veil of the sanctuary. And the priest shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar of sweet incense before Yahuwah, which is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour all the blood of the bullock at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall take off from it all the fat of the bullock for the sin offering, the fat that covered the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away, as it was taken off from the bullock of the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar of burnt offering. And the skin of the bullock, and all his flesh, with his head, and his legs, and his inwards, and his dung, even the whole bullock, shall he carry forth without the camp unto a clean place, where the ashes are poured out, and burn him on the wood with fire. Where the ashes are poured out, shall he be burnt. And if the whole congregation of Israel sin through ignorance, and the thing be hid from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done somewhat against any of the commandments of Yahuwah concerning things which should not be done, and are guilty, when the sin which they have sinned against it is known, then the congregation shall offer a young bullock for the sin, and bring him before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands upon the head of the bullock before Yahuwah, and the bullock shall be killed before Yahuwah. And the priest that is anointed shall bring of the bullock's blood of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall dip his finger in some of the blood, and sprinkle it 7 times before Yahuwah, even before the veil. And he shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar which is before Yahuwah, that is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour out all the blood at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall take all of his fat from him, and burn it upon the altar. And he shall do with the bullock as he did with the bullock for a sin offering. So shall he do with this, and the priest shall make an atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven them. And he shall carry forth the bullock without the camp, and burn him, as he burnt the first bullock. It is a sin offering for the congregation. When a ruler hath sinned, and done somewhat through ignorance against any of the commandments of Yahuwah his Elohim concerning things which should not be done, and is guilty, or if his sin wherein he hath sinned come to his knowledge, he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the goat, and kill it in the place where they kill the burnt offering before Yahuwah. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out his blood at the bottom of the altar of burnt offering. And he shall burn all his fat upon the altar, as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. And if any one of the common people sin through ignorance, while he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of Yahuwah concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty, or if his sin which he hath sinned come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female without blemish, for his sin which he hath sinned. And he shall lay his head upon the head of the sin offering, and slay the sin offering in the place of the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood thereof with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat is taken away from off the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. And if he bring a lamb for a sin offering, he shall bring it a female without blemish. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay it for a sin offering in the place where they kill the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat of the lamb is taken away from the sacrifice of the peace offerings. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto Yahuwah. And the priest shall make an atonement for his sin that he hath committed, and it shall be forgiven him. And if a soul sin, and hear the voice of swearing, and is a witness, whether he hath seen or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity. Or if a soul touch any unclean thing, whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast, or a carcass of unclean cattle, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, or if it be hidden from him, he also shall be unclean and guilty. Or if he touches the uncleanness of man, whatsoever uncleanness it be that a man shall be defiled withal, it shall be hid from him. And it be hid from him when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty. Or if a soul swear, pronouncing with his lips to do evil, or to do good, whatsoever it be that a man shall pronounce with an oath, and it be hid from him when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty in one of these. And it shall be, when he shall be guilty in one of these, that he shall confess that he hath sinned in that thing. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto Yahuwah for his sin which he hath sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of the goats for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his sin. And if he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring for his trespass which he hath committed 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, unto Yahuwah, one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head from his neck, but shall not divide it asunder. And he shall sprinkle of the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be wrung out at the bottom of the altar. It is a sin offering. And he shall offer the second for a burnt offering according to the manner, and the priest shall make an atonement for him for his sin which he hath sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. But if he be not able to bring 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, then he that hath sinned shall bring for his offering the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense thereon, for it is a sin offering. Then shall he bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it, even a memorial thereof, and burn it on the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto Yahuwah. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as touching his sin, that he hath sinned in one of these, it shall be forgiven him. And the remnant shall be the priest's as a meat offering. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, If a soul commit a trespass, and sin through ignorance, in the holy things of Yahuwah, then shall he bring for his trespass unto Yahuwah a ram without blemish out of the flocks, with the estimation of by shekels of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary for a trespass offering. And he shall make amends for the harm that he hath done in the holy thing, and shall add the 5th part thereto, and give it unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. And if a soul sin, and commit any of those things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of Yahuwah, though he wist it not, yet is he guilty, and shall bear his iniquity, he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock with thy estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance, wherein he erred and wist it not, and it shall be forgiven him. It is a trespass offering. He hath certainly trespassed against Yahuwah. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, If a soul sin, and commit a trespass against Yahuwah, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or hath deceived his neighbor, or hath found that which was lost, and lieth concerning it, and sweareth falsely, in any of all these that a man doeth, sinning therein, then it shall be, because he hath sinned, and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he hath deceitfully gotten, or that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found, or all that which he hath sworn falsely, he shall even restore it in the principal, and shall add the 5th part more thereto, and give it unto him to whom it appertaineth in the day of his trespass offering. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto Yahuwah, a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy estimation, for a trespass offering unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before Yahuwah, and it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he hath done in trespassing therein. Isaiah 43:21 through 44:23. This people have I formed for myself, they shall show forth my praise. But thou hast not called upon me, O Yaakov, but thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Thou hast not brought me the small cattle of thy burnt offerings, neither hast thou honored me with thy sacrifices. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor wearied thee with incense. Thou hast brought me no sweet cane with money, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices. But thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thine iniquities. I, even I, am he that blotteth out thy transgressions for mine own sake, and will not remember thy sins. Put me in remembrance, let us plead together. Declare thou, that thou mayest be justified. Thy first father hath sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Yaakov to the curse, and Yasharel to reproaches. Yet now hear, O Yaakov my servant, and Yasharel whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahuwah that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Yaakov my servant, and thou, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses. One shall say, I am Yahuwah's, and another shall call himself by the name of Yaakov. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahuwah, and surname himself by the name of Yasharel. Thus saith Yahuwah, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, Yahuwah Sebaot. I am the first, and I am the last, and besides me there is no Elohim. And who, as I, shall call, and shall declare it, and set in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people, and the things that are coming, and shall come, let them show unto them. Fear ye not, neither be ye afraid. Have I not told thee from that time, and have declared it? Ye are even my witnesses. Is there a Elohim beside me? Yea, there is no Elohim, I know not any. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their delectable things shall not profit. And they are their own witnesses, they see not, nor know, that they may be ashamed. Who hath formed an Elohim, a molten, a grave image that is profitable for nothing? Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen, they are of men. Let them all be gathered together. Let them stand up, yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together. The smith with the tongs both worketh in the coals, and fashioneth it with the hammers, and worketh it with the strength of his arms. Yea, he is hungry, and his strength faileth. He drinketh no water, and is faint. The carpenter stretcheth out his rule, and marketh it with a line. He fitteth it with planes, and he marketh it with a compass, and maketh after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of a man, that it may remain in the house. He heweth him down cedars, and taketh the cypress and the oak, which he strengtheneth for himself among the trees of the forest. He planteth an ash, and rain doth nourish it. And to burn, for he will take thereof and warm himself. Yea, he kindleth it, and baketh bread. Yea, he maketh an Elohim, and worshippeth it. And he maketh a graven image, and falleth down thereto. He burned part thereof in the fire, with part thereof he eateth flesh. He roasteth roast, and is satisfied. Yea, he warmeth himself, and saying, Aha, I am warm, I have seen the fire. And the residue thereof he maketh an Elohim, even his graven image. He falleth down unto it, and worshippeth, and prayeth unto it, and saith, Deliver me, for thou art my Elohim. They have not known nor understood, for he hath shut their eyes, that they cannot see, and their hearts, that they cannot understand. And none considereth in his heart, neither is there knowledge nor understanding to say, I have burned part of it in the fire. Yea, also I bake bread upon the coals thereof. I have roasted flesh and eaten it. And shall I make the residue thereof an abomination? Shall I fall down to the stalk of a tree? He feedeth on ashes, a deceived heart that turned him aside, that he cannot deliver his soul, nor say, Is there not a lie in my right hand? Remember these, O Jacob of Yasharel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Jacob. O Israel, thou shalt not be forgotten of me. Remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Yasharel. Thou shalt not be forgotten of me. I have blotted out, as a thick cloud, thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. Sing, O ye heavens, for Yahuwah hath done it. Shout, ye lower parts of the earth. Bring forth into singing, ye mountains, O forests and every tree therein. For Yahuwah hath redeemed Yaakov, and glorified himself in Yasharel. 1 Samuel 15, 2 through 34. Thus saith Yahuwah Sebaoth, I remember that which Amalek did to Yasharel, how he laid wait for him in the way, when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all they have, and spare them not, but slay man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen, and 10,000 men of Yehudah. And Saul came to the city of Amalek, and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Yasharel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until they comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and of the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they utterly destroyed. Then came the word of Yahuwah unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel. And he cried unto Yahuwah all night. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set up a place, and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of Yahuwah, I have performed the commandment of Yahuwah. And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto Yahuwah thy Elohim, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what Yahuwah hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Yasharel? And Yahuwah anointed thee king over Yasharel? And Yahuwah sent thee on a journey, and said, Go, and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore didst thou not obey the voice of Yahuwah, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of Yahuwah? And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of Yahuwah. I have gone the way which Yahuwah sent me, and I have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took up the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto Yahuwah thy Elohim in Gilgal. And Samuel said, Hath Yahuwah as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Behold, it is better to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahuwah, he hath also rejected thee from being king. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of Yahuwah and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now therefore I pray thee, pardon my sin, and turn again with me, that I may worship Yahuwah. And Samuel said unto Saul, I will not return with thee, for thou hast rejected the word of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah hath rejected thee from being king over Israel. And as Samuel turned about to go away, he laid hold upon the skirt of his mantle, and it rent. And Samuel said unto him, Yahuwah hath rent the kingdom of Yasharel from thee this day, and hath given it to a neighbor of thine, that is better than thou. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent, for he is not a man that he should repent. Then he said, I have sinned. Yet honor me now, I pray thee, before the elders of my people, and before Yasharel. Turn again with me, that I may worship Yahuwah thy Elohim. So Samuel turned again after Saul, and Saul worshipped Yahuwah. And then said Samuel, Bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came to him delicately. And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. And Samuel said, As thy sword hath made a woman childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before Yahuwah in Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house in Gibeah of Saul. Hebrews chapter 10, verses 1 through 18. For the Torah, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. For then would they not have ceased to be offered, because that the worshippers once purged should have no more conscience of sin. But in those sacrifices there is a remembrance again made of sins every year. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins. Wherefore when he cometh into the world, he saith, Sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin thou hast had no pleasure. Then said I, Lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me, to do thy will, O Elohim. Above what he said, sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings, and offering for a sin thou wouldest not, neither had pleasure therein, which are offered by the Torah. Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O Elohim. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. By the which we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach once for all. And every priest standeth daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of Elohim, from henceforth expecting till his enemies be made his footstool. For by one offering he hath made perfected forever them that are sanctified, whereof the Holy Ghost, the Ruach HaKodesh, also is a witness to us. For after that he had said before, This is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them, and their sins and iniquities will I remember no more. Now where remission of these is, there is no more offering for sin. Hebrews 13:10 through 15. We have an altar, whereof they have no right to eat which serve the tabernacle. For the bodies of those beasts, whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin, are burned without the camp. Wherefore Yahushua also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth therefore unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. By him therefore let us offer the sacrifice of praise to Elohim continually, that is, the fruit of our lips giving thanks to his name. Thank you so much for joining us.